everybody, welcome back. It's me, Deanna. Unfortunately, the guest I had scheduled for today, he had to postpone due to some technical difficulties, but he'll be on next week. So I do apologize for that. With that said, I'm flying solo again. So today I decided I wanted to talk about one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Mr. Rowdy Roddy Piper. Um, Man, I freaking love that man. I always have and probably always will. He, I mean, WrestleMania 1, uh, all of his wonderful matches. One of my favorites is probably one of his more well known matches was the wonderful dog collar match he had with Greg the Hammer Valentine. And apparently, Greg partially deafened Roddy during that match. And if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend getting on. Um, you might be able to find a snippet of it on YouTube, but I know the full match is definitely on Peacock in the WWE section. I think it was Starcade 83 is when that happened. Oh my god, what an awesome, brutal match. And there's definitely some shoot videos on YouTube between Greg and Roddy talking about how highly uncomfortable that match really was because there was like fur lining the collars so that the leather wasn't scratching them or something, but it just made them really, really hot and sweaty and gnarly. And then you mix in all the blood and the chain chain yanking and stuff like that. It was just a really beautifully gruesome match is the best way that I can describe that. So, it's a really fun match to watch. Another one of my favorite matches is WrestleMania 8. He and Bret Hart. That was a beautiful freaking match. Very beautiful match. And I think Bret Hart took the title off of Piper during that match. But the storytelling in that match is just phenomenal. Back in those days, it was very rare for both opponents to leave the match as baby faces, and they both did that. The sportsmanship at the end of that match, I'm tearing up because it was really a beautiful match. The sportsmanship of that match is just nothing can compare to it. It was just so beautifully done. There was like one point, Bret Hart was in the ring and he's like laying down and he's like, and Roddy Piper goes over and he grabs the bell and he hops back into the ring and you see him like taking it like he's gonna smash it over Bret's head, and you hear the crowd going, "Don't do it, no, don't do it," and he goes to do it and he's just like, you see him like fighting with himself about it, and then he throws it out of the ring and continues the match. It was just a very beautiful match, beautifully, beautifully played out. I actually have some Piper matches playing on my TV over here right now. Right now we're watching, Piper versus HBK with Sherry Martel in HBK's corner. So, again, Roddy Piper was just a class act. I never had the opportunity to meet him, and unfortunately, he has passed away. He's been gone a few years now, but his legacy will live on forever. His daughter is a wrestler as well. Her name is Teal Piper, and she's also very, very good. The few matches I've been able to catch of hers have been really great and really fun to watch. I love how she wears plaid in her gear, to honor her father, and she does his classic eye gouge move, which is just so cute. And every time she does it, the crowd just goes crazy because they know. Sorry, I could watch this man all day, and that's just his wrestling career. I haven't even talked about his movie career. He is in one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And I actually argue it may not even be a horror movie. I might even call it a documentary. They Live by John Carpenter. Uh, great, great film. And apparently Roddy was able to ad lib and write some of his own lines, so that's really cool. And apparently not apparently, he did. He did write some of his own lines, some of the more iconic lines in the movie. Those were all on Roddy. He wrote his own. Oh wow, he just went over to Sherry Martel and just planted one right on her. And she's another one too. Oh man, I loved Sherry Martel. Um, Before she came to WWF, and I'm referring to it as WWF because I don't think she ever worked for WWE necessarily. But she was actually a really accomplished wrestler as well. And she was managed by Jim Cornette. And again, I'm not the biggest Jim Cornette fan, but I do respect him and everything that he's done for the wrestling industry. And as a manager, yeah, he's top notch, but I don't know. There was just always something about his personality that I never really cared for. But Sherry Martel, she was just phenomenal in the ring. And then when she came to WWF and became a manager, she kind of elevated that. She's worked with Macho Man, HBK, aka Shawn Michaels or Heartbreak Kid. Sorry, my roommate thinks now is the best time to start playing with his loud ass taser. Ugh. So if you hear that in the background, that's what's going on. No one's being tased. He just plays with it because he thinks it's cool. He's an old guy. He doesn't know any better. Oh my god, my fan is like right here in shot. Nah. Okay, move that out. But as you can see over here, I have, a Dusty Rhodes action figure and my Roddy Piper from They Live. Let me see if I can pull it out without making too much of a ruckus. There we go. Yes. Rowdy Roddy Piper is John Nada. It's a little dusty, so forgive me. But yes, this is like one of my favorite action figures that I have. I keep it in the box because I don't know why. I'm never going to take them out and play with them, but I like to keep them displayed in the box. Never opened. But like, he's just, look at him. I freaking love my Roddy Piper, okay? I just love him. Probably my favorite wrestler of all time. I don't know. Even as a kid, I don't even know what really drew me to him. I really couldn't tell you what it was that drew me to him. Very rarely do I see a wrestler for the first time and just like fall in love. I can name maybe 4 that I was just blown away by the first time I ever saw them in action. And Roddy Piper was probably the first one. And excuse me. Ooh. Excellent choice in my opinion. You're not going to find anyone who was quite like him. I mean, he had amazing in-ring skills. He was definitely, I don't care who you are, whether you like him or not, you got to admit when he was on the mic, definitely one of the best talkers. He had moments that were just outright hilarious. Oh my gosh, I just remember some of his snake pit. No, oh my god, not snake pit. Wow, that was Jake. Piper's pit segments, and I believe if my memory is correct, I think he was the first one to have like a talk show segment in wrestling. He was like the first one. And then it was, what else was there? There was the Flower Shop with Adrian Adonis, the Snake Pit with Jake the Snake. There was Brother Love. There was, oh my god, Paul Bearer had one too, but for the life of me, the name, it was there and then it just flew away. All those little talk show segments where they get on and interview each other and talk with each other. And of course, there was that iconic scene where um, Piper hit Jimmy Snuka over the head with a coconut. And apparently, Jimmy Snuka was not happy about that. It was supposed to be like a fake coconut, but apparently it was a real one. And I don't know if you've ever tried to break a coconut open, but those things are not easy to get into. So for him to smash one right over Snooka's head is just hilarious. Oh, Bret Hart's interfering. I have it muted, but it's looking like Roddy Piper's pretty ticked off at Bret Hart for interfering on his behalf. Oh yeah, Piper's red hot. Literally, like he is red. Like his skin is red. I don't know what year this was, but this is probably like one of my favorite looks on Roddy Piper. Like the way his hair was, it was like a little bit longer and shaggy, and he was still pretty fit. Um, I know he was a Golden Glove boxer there when he was in Canada. Um, he could technically, I mean, he really could play the bagpipes. Like when you would see him on the show, when you would see him, on WWE or WCW, and he had his bagpipes with him, and it looked like he was playing them. He actually was playing them. So yeah, he, that was Roddy Piper, man. He was just fantastic. Okay, so, what's coming up next? Oh, it's a commercial, and I'm not going to change it while I'm talking to you guys. But yeah, Roddy Piper, one of the greats. One of the greats. I loved his work. I loved everything about him. I remember him kicking Cyndi Lauper in the face at one point. Let me see if I can put that on. I do remember him kicking Cyndi Lauper in the face, which I was a little kid. I'm going to say I was probably like 4 or 5 when that happened. And I as a little girl, I really, really loved Cyndi Lauper so much because she was just so cool. And she was so unusual, as she used to say. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Hell yeah. Ooh, I shouldn't be cussing as much as I do, and I don't know why I do it. It is what it is, right? Um, looking to see what time it is. There we go. But yeah, he kicks her right in the face. And, they've both done interviews about it. And of course, it was definitely staged and choreographed. Apparently, her manager was like, can you kick her in the face without actually kicking her in the face? And so now that we know that little tidbit, when you go back and watch the footage, you can definitely see that, like, no, he really did not kick her in the face. But it looks like Dick Clark presented her with an award, and she's in the ring with Hulk Hogan, Dick Clark, and Wendy Richter. And she's accepting the award. Wow, this is really old. This is when the microphones, I don't know if you guys remember that, but the microphones used to come down from overhead into the ring. And that's what the ring announcers and any kind of segments in the ring, that's what they used. They didn't have like these little, portable microphones like we have today. But I definitely remember like the microphones coming down from the ring, and it was like on like this cage, and it was like, I don't know, it was so theatrical. Oh, and Captain Lou, he's in there with her too. They were really good friends in real life, Cindy and Lou. But man, those were the days. Those were the wonderful heydays of wrestling. Since we're talking about Cyndi Lauper, I'm really irritated that she's not in the wrestling or WWE Hall of Fame. She more than deserves it. WrestleMania wouldn't have happened without her. And, people will argue that and like, oh, it could have been anybody. But it wasn't. It was Cyndi, okay? Madonna wasn't going to do it. Cyndi did. And to this day, I will never understand Captain Lou with those damn rubber bands on his face. As a kid, I just thought it was like an adult thing that I would understand later in life. And as an adult, 40 freaking years later, I still don't understand it. Oh, here we go. Kick to the face. There it is. There it is. Yeah. As a seasoned wrestling fan, I can definitely tell that was so fake. But, as a little kid, I was like, oh my gosh, he just kicked Cindy in the face. I was crying because I really, really thought she was hurt. I loved her so much. That might have been like the only time I was just like, I don't like him anymore. Oh God, why does Hulk Hogan have to be there? I hate that guy. Oh wow, and there he is with Roddy's with Bob Orton, the Viper's dad, Randy Orton's daddy. So for those of you who didn't know, Randy Orton's dad was a very well accomplished wrestler as well, Cowboy Bob Orton. And am I remembering it wrong? But didn't he always have like a like a cast or something on his arm that I don't know. He had it for like a really long time. I'm gonna say like I just remember it being there. Like looking back on anything Bob Orton, he always had that dang cast on his arm for like years. Like I don't know. Maybe I was just too young and it all just like blurred together and it feels like it was years, but I feel like it was years. Um, Man, the 80s were freaking great for wrestling. For those of you that were too young to remember it, I definitely recommend going back, get on your Peacock app and go in and watch some of like the older stuff that they had of in wrestling. Like what did they I know they have the main event hosted by Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan, who both also very amazing guys. Love those guys. You're not gonna find two better commentators in the world than those two. And I want to say Roddy Piper eventually joined in on hosting that with them as well. And so there was Saturday Night Main Event, I think it was called, or it might have just been called Main Event. And then there was Prime Time. Maybe that's what it was. There was Prime Time, Main Event, and then of course you can go back on the Peacock app and watch every pay-per-view that WWE has ever done in its history. So you have all the WrestleManias, all the Royal Rumbles, all the Survivor Series, SummerSlams. Those are like the OG pay-per-views. And then, as the years progressed, they kept adding more pay-per-views like Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell, Clash at the Castle. I think that one's like one of their newer ones, isn't it? And all those good things. Oh, this is another little clip I liked. I think this one's more recent, probably a couple years before Roddy Piper passed away. And they did a segment with Heath Slater. Wow. Heath Slater. There. I did it without whistling between my teeth. But it was Cyndi Lauper again, Wendy Richter again, Roddy Piper, and Heath Slater comes out. And Heath Slater keeps interrupting Cyndi Lauper, and Wendy and Roddy are like, you don't interrupt Cyndi. I wonder what Cyndi thinks about all this Vince McMahon stuff going on. I would love to hear her 2 cents on that, just because, she's an icon. She's definitely all about feminism and women's rights. So I wonder what she thinks about her old buddy Vince McMahon and these allegations against him. I would just be really curious to hear her point of view on that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I already know, but I'm also not going to share that because I don't want to put words in her mouth or have somebody take it the wrong way and say that, Cindy said this. I'm not going to do that to her because she deserves better. But where when is she getting put into the Hall of Fame though, for real? I don't understand how somebody like Donald Trump is in the wrestling hall or WWE Hall of Fame, but Cyndi Lauper's not. That makes no freaking sense to me. Cyndi Lauper has done more for the wrestling industry than Donald Trump ever could. Oh my god. I think it was the kilt. I'm not gonna lie. I think it was the kilt that drove me absolutely freaking nuts about Roddy Piper. I freaking love that man so much. And he's like one of those guys, which is where rich tongue tied, haha. It's very rare in the wrestling industry for a wrestler to get better looking with age, but like Roddy Piper truly did. He got better looking with age, and I mean he kept his body in pretty good shape, and it was just like you could tell he was getting older, but he still had the moves, still had the mic skills, and I think this is where he hits Heath Slater over the head with Cindy's gold record. I could watch these guys all day. And how cute. Even Cindy has like a little bit of plaid on in her outfit for this segment. She looks so pretty. She's got like blonde hair that's shoulder length with like a mint green stripe and then a bunch of little pink stripes throughout her hair. Wendy Richter looks amazing. She's got on a black gown with a belted waist, and then she's got this red feather boa. And then Roddy with his kilt, t-shirt, and leather jacket. Oh my god, his shirt. I just realized what his shirt said after all these years. The girls want to have fun with a question mark? Call Roddy. Oh my gosh. And I'm sure, a lot of people will have some controversial things to say about Roddy. Um, I'm not defending anything that he did, especially the face paint he wore. You know, back then it was totally acceptable. Oh, it wasn't Roddy that smashed it over Heath's head. It was Cindy. Cindy did it. Ooh, that's so cool. I love her so much, and I love Roddy so much as well. God, they're so funny. You gotta have some comedy in your wrestling. It can't all be super serious. Super serious. Yeah, I think Cindy came to WWF what, 83, 84. Man, talk about your trip down memory lane. I love it. I freaking love it. Oh, here's a Piper's Pit revival with The Miz and Alex Riley. I mean, I can sit here and watch Piper's Pit all day. I love the podcast. I think there's still episodes up on Spotify. I don't know if it's, the entire catalog or anything like that, or if it's just like a few episodes here and there. But yeah, I think there's still some episodes up on Spotify. Um, Roddy Piper, man, he was just a great guy. He definitely appealed to the kids. He appealed to the adults. He was just somebody that everybody really liked and respected. I know he was Ronda Rousey's mentor, and the leather jacket that she wears out to the ring is actually his. Um, he had gifted it to her and gave her his blessing and using the name Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Talk about tongue twisters, man. Um, I think it's just great. And I love when the veterans take the new people under their wing and kind of, this isn't meant to be a pun, but literally show them the ropes, the do's and don'ts, and, help develop their skills and their character and everything like that. Even now, even today, they're still doing that. I know recently AEW had the Hardys paired up with Isaiah Cassidy, aka Brother Zay, which I thought was great. Like, you think about it at first and you're just like, but the three of them worked really, really well together in like their trios, in their little trios run. I just thought that was really cute. Even Chris Jericho taking a lot of these younger guys under his wing. Like, he's taken in Sammy Guevara. Why am I drawing a blank? Even Anna Jay, she was under Chris Jericho for a while. Ty Conti, or I think she goes by Ty Mello now. Like, Chris Jericho takes them in. Sting and Darby Allin. I think that was a beautiful relationship, Sting and Darby. I'm still pretty sentimental about, Sting retiring, and I'm really gonna miss seeing him on my TV every week, that's for sure. Even like all these guys. But yeah, Roddy Piper, man, he is just one. He just got better looking with age. I remember I was probably like a teenager and I would call him Hottie Roddy. He was my dude. He was the guy I had the biggest crush on. Oh, you got to see some of my shirt. There we go. For those who are actually watching on YouTube. Yes, I have a Kevin Sullivan shirt. Let me try to pull it up as much as I can. Kevin Sullivan, he's another one of my favorites. He was probably like one of the first, in my memory, he was probably one of the first like dark characters, like, he wasn't like the pretty boy like Ric Flair type, or Rick Martel, or even Bret Hart. Oh my god, Bret Hart was hot though, wasn't he? He actually still is kind of hot. He's like a silver fox kind of thing going on. But Kevin Sullivan, he was dark. After his work with the Steiners, and then he started his little faction of misfits and stuff. Like, that was pretty cool. Like, he took innocent little Gertrude the reporter and turned her into Luna Vachon the monster. And when I say monster, I mean that as a compliment. I mean that in like the highest regard. They're like, wow. But we're gonna have that conversation next week about Luna Vachon. So yeah, but I loved me some Kevin Sullivan. I loved Roddy Piper, Ric Flair, and it's really fun to listen. I keep getting tongue tied today. I don't know what's up with that. Probably because I'm filming on a different day at a different time, and I don't have all my thoughts together properly. But yeah, I love hearing Ric Flair talk about his friendship with Roddy Piper. Those are some fun things to listen to, and if you can, sorry, one of my least favorite wrestlers just came across the screen. I don't really like to say who it is because it gets a lot of people really upset. But I do not like this fucker. I know everybody wants to say he's so hard. No, he's a crybaby pussy ass bitch. And if you follow me on social media, then you automatically know who I'm talking about. He's a crybaby pussy ass bitch. He ain't stone cold. He's a crybaby pussy ass bitch. Hate that fucker. Always have. Always will. I didn't even like him when he was stunning. Jerk. I don't like him. Never did anything for me. Jerk. But yeah, Roddy Piper, probably my favorite wrestler of all time. If I had to do a top 5 of all time, guys, oh, it would take me forever just to sit down and try to figure out top 5 of all time. I can do my top 5 of the golden era, which was, the early 80s. My top 5: Roddy Piper, Wendy Richter, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair. Oh, that's my Mount Rushmore. There was only 4, right? Those are my top 4. The newer guys, or the newer guys and gals, I should say. It's really hard. There's a lot of awesome talent out there. I could probably do top 5 guys and top 5 girls. Top 5 guys right now, definitely Moxley, Kingston, or let me reiterate, Eddie, Kingston, Moxley, Swerve. I love me some freaking Swerve. Edge, aka Adam Copeland, and I'm including him as Edge because I really did like him in WWE. Before he came to AEW, he was probably one of the few wrestlers in WWE that I actually really cared about and would watch their matches and cheer them on. Like I said, it's no secret that I'm more of an AEW girl than I am a WWE girl. But I really did love Edge, and I love Adam Copeland, so both of them. And I'm going to throw in Bray Wyatt. Maybe not for his in-ring capabilities. He was good, but that character work was freaking flawless. Freaking flawless. I mean, that character work was just wow. Probably one of the best characters in all of wrestling history. Up there with The Undertaker for character work. Undertaker and Bray Wyatt, definitely top 2. I would even throw in a current one, very current one, Timeless Tony. Damn, that is some good character work. And the father figure, Christian Cage. Top 4 character works right there. And now we're going to go into women's wrestling. I love Camille, the Brickhouse. She was with NWA, and her contract just recently expired in January. And I know she is signing with another company, but it has not been revealed as to who it is. I know it's not WWE, so it's either between AEW or TNA, and I'm kind of leaning towards it being AEW just for the simple fact that TNA all of a sudden has all these budget cuts, and they're laying a lot of people off or getting rid of a lot of people, including Scott, which makes no sense to me. So I'm thinking she's going with AEW, but I'm probably wrong. She might go to TNA. Who knows? Well, she knows, but she hasn't let us know yet. But I'm gonna say like 75% sure she's going to AEW. So I love Camille. I love Rhea Ripley. I think she's great. Wow, she's a beast. Like, she's probably the closest thing that we have to China right now. And I love me some China. And I'm not just talking about like the look or anything like that, but with just, there's no fear in that woman. Rhea Ripley has zero fear. And that's great, I really like Julia Hart as well. Again, I'm more drawn to like the dark characters, like the darker characters. I liked her when she was in Varsity Blondes, I think they were called. I liked her then, but then when she joined the House of Black, I kind of fell in love with her, and even her skills have like drastically improved since she joined the House of Black. Like she's just an all around improving. So those are three of my four top favorite women's wrestlers right now, current. I got Camille, I got Rhea, Julia Hart, and ooh, it's definitely a toss up between these two ladies. I don't know if you can tell who they are, but this is Natalia and this is Charlotte. And I really love both of them a whole big bunch. Um, Again, fan of both of their families. I loved the Hart family. She's the daughter of, or Natalia's the daughter of Jim the Anvil Neidhart, who was married to Bret Hart's sister. So Bret Hart is her uncle. Owen Hart is her uncle. And the British Bulldog is her uncle because the British Bulldog is also married to one of the Hart sisters. And then Charlotte, obviously, everyone knows who her dad is, Rick. Rick Flair, woo! Sorry, I have a really hard time saying his name and not doing that, so anytime you hear me say his name and I don't do that, know that I'm dying a little bit inside, holding it in and being like, oh, I can't do it. But yes, Ric Flair, woo! Even if it's just a little one, I just feel a little bit better, like just venting the lid off the pot, so to speak. Um, oh, I like Asuka a lot too. She's really good. Um, I love heel Bailey. I didn't like the hugger so much, but I like the heel. I I I do tend to lean towards the heels, but there are a lot of baby faces I love too. I can't think of one off the top of my head right now, but yeah. I don't know. Eddie Kingston's probably a baby face, wouldn't you think? At this point in the game, I know he's more of like a neutrally kind of person, but I think right now he's having a face run. Um, yeah, so I we can say I like Kofi Kingston too, though. Kofi Kingston's another one of my favorites in WWE. He's just so entertaining, even as the faction, a new day. I just feel like anytime they're on screen, you're having a good time, no matter what. Like new day's here, everyone's gonna have a good time, no matter what. Doesn't matter if they're faces or heels. When they're on screen, you're gonna be entertained, and I think that's important. That's definitely an important quality to have because I've been to matches and I've seen wrestlers coming out, and as soon as some of the crowd members see who's coming out, they get up and they go outside, smoke a cigarette, or go to the bathroom, grab a drink, whatever, and they're like, oh, break time. It really irritates me, though. I'm going to say this. It really irritates me when they only do it for women's matches. I'm like, you're part of the problem. You are part of the problem. You don't take women seriously. You definitely don't take women wrestlers seriously. And that's a problem. Because reasons like that, things like that, because like these promoters, the CEOs, people like, well, Triple H now, but like Vince McMahon or Tony Khan, Billy Corgan, all those guys, they're watching the crowd too. So when you get up, when 200 people are getting up and leaving when the women wrestlers come out, they're paying attention. They're like, oh, they don't like the women wrestlers. So that's why the women wrestlers are only getting one match per show, and most of the time it's picture in picture, the whole fucking thing. That's a problem. You want to sit there and you want to sexualize these women who are literally putting their asses on the line, putting their body on the line for your entertainment, and then you're just going to disrespect them and not even acknowledge their hard work. That's just so rude. Like, I get it. You don't like women. That's probably why you live in your mom and dad's basement and punch the drywall whenever your dude loses. And that's another topic that, I'm happy to dive into. I am so happy to dive into. That's why I started this podcast. Actually, that is why I started this podcast, to talk about wrestling, how wrestling is gay, and not that far away from being related to drag. What say you? What say you? What comparisons and contrasts do you have? With that said, my guest for next week's episode is Monique Shame. They were on season 2 of the Boulet Brothers Dragula. They are an accomplished drag queen. They really don't need an introduction. If you know, you know. If you have any questions for Monique, feel free to comment them on this video. You can email me, ropesandheels@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook as Ropes and Heels. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I can't talk today. Ropes and Heels on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram as Ropes and Heels. So if you have any questions for Monique, feel free to shoot them in. We would love to answer them and go over everything with you. I'm going to wrap it up here. I think I finally found an outro, guys. Instead of trying to steal from everybody else, I finally, little backstory on me real quick. I used to do a lot of office work, and I was on the phone all day with customers all day long. I did some telemarketing, I did all of that. But, recently I've been doing a lot of customer service and project managing. So I like to end my phone calls a certain way. So I'm going to start using that here. And I hope it goes well. I hope it works. If you guys don't like my outros, let me know and I'll try to come up with something else. But with that said, if you have any questions for my guest next week, Monique Shame, feel free to drop me a line on Facebook at Ropes and Heels, Instagram at Ropes and Heels, or email me ropesandheels@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on this video, and I think I have it set up on Spotify where you can leave comments too. So with that said, I hope everything is well, that you're staying safe, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a wonderful week, guys.